Okay, so today we're looking at triangles. Yesterday we looked at quadrilaterals. What's the difference between a quadrilateral and a triangle? Vicky? Good. Quad means 4, tri means 3. So quadrilateral has 4 sides and a triangle has 3 sides. Perfect. This is lesson 15. And our focus today is to look at the attributes. We want to understand, not just know them, but actually understand attributes of different types of triangles. Just to make sure we understand our vocabulary. Triangles is 3 sides because of the word tri. An angle, so it has 3 angles, which means it would have 3 sides. An attribute is like a characteristic or a rule that it has to follow. Okay? So an attribute of a triangle would be that it has 3 sides. And we're going to look at 3 different types. So I'm actually going to let's draw a table in our notes today. Did you draw a table yesterday? No? Ooh, that line went all nutty. All right, so I want you to do, one side is going to be focusing on the sides of the triangle, and the other side of your table is going to be focusing on the angles of the triangle. Oh, sorry about that. That says that's angles. Hopefully the whole box isn't all messed up. Okay, so for sides, there's 3 types of triangles, just looking at the sides. Okay, one of them is scalene. One is isosceles. Isosceles is not always easy to spell, but you can remember it has SOS in it. Isosceles. And then the other one that we're going to talk about is equilateral. Okay? Underline both of these too. So scalene reminds me of leaning, which means it has no congruent sides. So it's going to lean some way. No sides are congruent. So would there be any tick marks on a scalene triangle? Nope. There would be 0 tick marks because all the sides are different. So it would just be blank. They wouldn't actually put 1 tick mark on one, 2 on another, and 3 on another. They would just leave it blank. Okay. And isosceles has the word I in it, or the letter I. How many I's do you have? 2. So that's how I always remember an isosceles has 2 sides that are congruent. Makes it a little easier just to think that you have 2 I's. I'll draw my I's here. So an isosceles has 2 congruent sides. Whoa, what just happened there? Okay. And then finally, an equilateral has the word equal in it. A little different spelling there, but equal. And following our pattern, a scalene has none. Isosceles has 2, so what do you think equal is? All 3, good. All 3 sides are congruent. Oops, I forgot the R. All 3 sides are congruent. Just to make sure we understand congruent, congruent means that they're the same. Okay. All right, let's look at the angles now. So when you're looking at describing a triangle, you use the sides and the angles to describe it. Okay. So if it's a right angle, that means that it has a right angle in it. Okay. It has a right angle. What's the symbol for a right angle? Good. It has a little box in the corner. Okay. You might have an obtuse angle. Last time we talked about obtuse, we said, oh, obtuse, because it's big. Okay. So an obtuse triangle has an obtuse angle, but you need to make sure you understand what an obtuse is. An obtuse angle is something that's larger than a right angle, okay? Larger than a right angle. So larger than 90 degrees. And remember, a right angle is 90 degrees. So would 91 degrees of an angle be an obtuse angle? Yes. Would 90 degrees? No, because that would be right. Okay. And then finally we have acute. Acute. And those are the acute little angles. Okay. So acute, if it's an acute triangle, all angles are acute. Okay. All angles are acute if it's an acute triangle. Can all angles be obtuse? No, that would look kind of weird, right? We can't make a triangle if the angles are all obtuse. But an acute angle, we can have all angles are acute. And acute is less than a right triangle. Or right angle, excuse me. Okay, sorry, I didn't leave myself enough space for those notes. Okay, so could we have an equilateral acute triangle where all sides are the same and all angles are acute? Yes. Yes, we can do that. Okay, and we can draw an example of that. We can use our tick marks to help us. All of those angles are acute. Okay, so on Think Central tonight, it's going to ask you to use these definitions to analyze triangles and see which ones could be classified in which way. Okay. Could we have an equilateral obtuse triangle? No, because if all sides are equal, the angles are all going to be acute. We wouldn't have an obtuse angle there. Okay. So those are kind of the questions that we're going to have. If you look at your student activity book, we can kind of preview what you'll see. 297 is the page that it starts on. So you can see a scalene triangle cannot have a line of symmetry. Is that true or not? In Think Central, you'll be given some choices. One of them is true, and then the other ones are counterexamples. So you have to know that a counterexample is something that shows you that that statement is false. Okay. So up here it says, if it's false, sketch a counterexample. In Think Central, they're giving you counterexamples. You have to pick the right one if it's false. Okay. Are there any questions about this? So Think Central is very similar to last night. There's 7 questions on this one, so there's one more than last night. The last 2 are like number 6 was last night, where there's a couple questions and a bunch of pictures of triangles, and you have to figure out which ones are which. Okay. So when you get to those questions 6 and 7, make sure that you're reading. If it says try again when you submit your answer, read that try again box, because it tells you which ones you missed, and then it helps you with giving you the attributes so that you can look at it again. Okay, so make sure you read that try again box when it pops up, if it pops up. Okay, all right, thank you for a great